I am Felipe Crook,
And I'm David Hitt.
and this is LA Real Estate Talk. This is our first podcast about everything in real estate in Los Angeles.
Buyer tips, seller tips, recent laws, recent changes in the laws.
Design trends, things that you should avoid, everything that you want to know about real estate. We're going to talk about it here, and I would encourage you, please follow, make sure you like it. If you want to comment on a specific topic that you want us to go over, please do that. We'd be more than happy to discuss any topics real estate related in the Los Angeles area.
Thank you for joining us.
So I figured today, as our first podcast episode, we are going to talk about the real estate market and what is going on in the market right now. So right off the bat, what we hear nationally is so different than what we actually see on the ground every day doing real estate here in LA.
Yes, absolutely.
So one of the things I keep hearing over and over again, I just saw this Keeping Current Matters, which is a great website that helps real estate agents keep up to date with the latest trends.
I love it.
It's so good, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that they said is like, here are some of the headlines that we're seeing nationally. Foreclosure headlines. More Americans are losing their homes as foreclosure on U.S. properties rise. Foreclosures are on the rise, particularly in Illinois, Delaware, and New Jersey. U.S. foreclosure filings jumped 22% and repossessions hit highest level in 3 years. I mean, you're seeing this stuff all the time. Now, part of that is because the foreclosure moratorium was lifted.
Yes, and they want people to click on their articles and they want to boost their readership.
Right.
So they sensationalize all of this. But
of course,
what's interesting, when we actually look at the data on foreclosures, it actually tells a different story.
Completely. There were so many less foreclosures in the last 3 years. Obviously, most of that is because of the moratorium. Mm-hmm. But we're still historically much, much lower than we were even 3 years ago before the pandemic.
Yeah.
And the foreclosure crisis back in 2008, I know you were in real estate in 2008 mm-hmm. here in LA, right? Mm-hmm. So I was doing real estate in Vegas in 2008. And that was like the epicenter of the foreclosure crisis. Yeah. And that's what really drove prices down, is because when banks put on these homes on the market as a foreclosure, they're putting them at the bottom price to get it sold in 30 days.
Right.
They don't want to have it on their assets anymore. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that is the reason why in Vegas, prices dropped so far and so low because of those foreclosure prices.
That would have been the real time if we knew what was going to happen to time to invest in Vegas.
Can you imagine? So my mom, actually, she was, luckily, she bought 3 properties in 2011. Okay. It was right at the bottom of the market.
Smart lady.
She's so smart. I want to be just like my mom when I grow up. And then prices have gone up crazily. Yeah. Prices have gone up basically for the last 10 years.
Yeah, I still amazed at what we're seeing here in Los Angeles.
So what are you seeing in terms of pricing? Because we hear a lot of things that buyers are waiting for the market to crash. And I had to tell them, look, I'm sorry, prices are not crashing.
We're just looking at this today and yesterday to research and prepare for today. And the stats, what we're seeing are not actually saying that. It's actually saying that we're now again in a seller's market because of the amount of the lack of inventory, and the rate of demand that we have still is we're in a seller's market again.
Yeah, it's crazy. It never really left the seller's market. It got a little bit softer. Okay. Right, because when interest rates went up, basically the last entire year. Yeah. So when they started really going up in June, July, August of last year, we saw a really huge cliff of sales, actual sales, not sales prices, but the amount of sales happening in Los Angeles. It just went off a cliff.
Right.
We went from 3% all the way up to 7.5% at the peak in November.
Yeah. And that dropped off buyer activity for a bit.
Yeah. That was like the small window where buyers actually had an opportunity
Right.
to negotiate a little bit.
Yeah.
And we did see some price decreases in Los Angeles. I think
In
it was
certain areas,
in certain areas, yeah.
but not like the hot areas like, Silver Lake, Los Feliz, Echo Park, Beverly Hills, West Hollywood, the West Side, even the Valley, parts of Sherman Oaks, Studio City. They're just not sharp declines in price.
There were some, like
Some.
so to those people who are saying, but there are going to be price decreases. Look, there were some. I think it was about 2 to 3% here in Los Angeles.
And it's very localized. Each neighborhood is going to have its own trends as well. We're going to report on the overall trends of LA as a whole.
Yeah, LA as a whole, like always, it's always about the neighborhood, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're looking to buy or sell in a specific neighborhood, the way that you run comparable sales is totally different than the citywide.
Absolutely. I have my own formula that works well with running comparables, and it's up to a half mile away in the last 3 months first to see what's there, and then maybe tighten it up with square footage. 300 square feet smaller than the subject property and 300 square feet larger, and that usually will tell us what we need to know.
Now, the reason why you do that, I assume, is because appraisers, whenever they're appraising a property, they're going to do the exact same kind of information, right?
Absolutely, and what's important, I think, also too, just to interject here, that being the neighborhood expert, quote unquote, isn't necessarily the right person to hire today, because what I like to say is important to us with seasoned agents. Once you know how to study the data properly, we can work in any area of Los Angeles if you really know that what's sold and how to read the sales, because then we need to then educate the appraisers at times what the data is actually, what we're seeing.
Okay, let's talk about the recession, right? Everyone says there's going to be a recession, and there probably will be. There probably will be a mild recession.
I think one thing about the recession, that on stats that I've looked at in the past, that the past recessions, that actually prices have actually gone up and not gone down in the last two major recessions.
Yeah, so that's one thing that is people don't understand that. Like, people think that if there's a recession, that automatically means that housing prices are going to go down.
Right.
But that's not necessarily the case.
Right. Well, that's why I'm laughing, because it's completely the opposite of what you would think.
Yeah.
But studying the data, again, it tells us everything we need to know, which is what we like to do weekly.
So here's some pros and cons about buying during a recession. Obviously, there's less competition. That's a pro.
Yeah.
There's much less competition when you're in a recession. So you're not going to have as many offers as we're seeing. And I don't know about you, but like last week, I submitted 3 offers. One had 19, one had 12, one had 4 offers.
See, that tells us everything of what is going on in our market today. We are in a seller's market.
Yeah.
I mean,
and going back to your point, it's like we are in a seller's market because the inventory is so low.
Right.
There's only 6,800 homes on the multiple listing service in LA County for a population of 10 million people.
Yeah, and the number of months for inventory is just under 3 months, if I read the stats correctly too. And I think it's when you're over 4 months and above that you're in more of a buyer's market.
Yep, totally.
Mm-hmm.
So another pro about buying during a recession is there are, typically lower prices. With fewer buyers, home sellers are likely to no longer see multiple offers or bidding wars for their properties. This can lead to lower home prices.
Except we're seeing
Except here.
exactly the opposite, which you just shared with me on what you wrote on the buyers you wrote for this week.
Yeah, so these are all national statistics. That's why I think it's super important to talk about national versus local.
Yeah.
Everything that you see nationally is not necessarily what's going to be here in LA, and LA is a different beast in the real estate market.
It is. There's no more land to build on, and so they're taking older homes that we're seeing. There's one in my neighborhood that they tore it apart and they've just left the frame and they're going to rebuild, it.
Bigger and better.
Yeah, bigger and better. But what else? There's a third point there.
Yeah, lower rates.
Lower interest rates,
which is great. Right now, interest rates, they're at 6.5% right now?
Lower rates like buying in a recession.
Correct.
Typically, okay, yeah. And right now they're 6.5 or 6 3/4 approximately.
Yep. And then, so during a recession, the rates will get lower, which is great for buyers.
And some of the cons, we're just bringing this closer so I can read. Stricter lending requirements.
Yes, that is absolutely true.
And fewer options available, so not as many listings on the market. And economic uncertainty.
Right, and those are totally valid, and that is information that we provide to our buyers and sellers. Like here's the pros and cons. You can make an educated decision with all of the information. That's what we always talk about that with our clients. It's like, this is your choice. If you want to move forward, we will support you wherever you want to go, but you need to have all the information so you can make an educated decision.
Absolutely. And so let's talk about the stricter lending guidelines. I think, people who have good credit, who have, a decent, steady employment are always going to be able to get financing.
Yeah.
It's some of the people that your credit is so-so or it's not good, that it's going to be a little tougher, in my experience, to get financing.
Right. So like subprime people, like maybe FHA, like lower right. incomes.
We don't have any. I haven't seen any FHA or VA in our area. But also non-QM, non-qualified mortgages, which are...
Say that again. Non-QM. What is that?
Non-qualified mortgages. Those are the subprime. Those are the less than A paper loans out there with people not as good of credit.
Or just they don't fit into a box, right?
Or they don't fit into the A paper box, right.
So like W-2 income or income that is, like if you're a business owner and you only have 1 year of tax returns.
Yes.
Some lenders will lend on that, but it's not a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mae mortgage that they can do.
Right.
So that's non-QM. Okay.
But I think also too, anybody, people are, we're seeing a little complaining about how the interest rates are now versus earlier this year. And, it still goes to, it's better to buy, generally speaking, than to rent, because you're paying down your own mortgage and building equity then versus paying someone else's mortgage.
Now in LA, like that could be a significant jump from a rent to purchase. But if you look at the long-term statistics for homeowners, they tend to be way more wealthy in the long run versus people who don't own real estate.
Homeownership is definitely the road to building generational wealth, as they say, and so it's super important you have to live somewhere, so you've got to have a primary residence, and it's better, again, to overall, not everybody should buy, but generally speaking, it's better to buy than to rent. Now, this next one, fewer options that are available. That's the lower inventory that we're talking about, and that's why we're seeing 19, 15 offers, I would imagine, on those properties that you just wrote on.
I can't imagine if we go into a mild recession and we get less properties on the market. Like, I will pull my hair out. Like it is obnoxious how many multiple offers I'm seeing on many properties.
And that, I would imagine, takes a little extra hand holding and coaching with the buyers too on expectations and
Well, even the strategy. The strategy to submit an offer when there's 10 offers versus there's no offers is completely different.
I agree. And I like the fact that one of the things that I like to do, and I'm sure you're the same, is that I like to call the listing agent and let them know about who I am
100%.
and who my client is, and that we're coming, or we saw the property and this is who they are and this is why it works, the house works for them, and get information from them, what they're willing to share about what's come in. How do we write an offer that's going to help, that's going to win to the listing agent?
Yeah.
And sometimes they tell us, things, and sometimes they don't, and sometimes they'll just give you hints. But whatever we can,
any information we can get
out of that conversation,
exactly,
that will help us. And I think also too, it's important that we want them to know that we're friendly, we're easy to work with, and we're problem solvers, and we close deals.
That's such a good point. I do, whenever we submit offers on our listings, we do a bomb video. So this is a video marketing, really smart video marketing tool that we use. And we'll do a video talking about who we are, who our clients are. It really stands out whenever we're presenting offers. I just did this last week for a client, and the listing agent said, you win the best presentation of the offer out of 19.
Thank you for saying that. If we're not able to meet them in person, certainly a video goes a long way, and
it just humanizes us as agents.
It does.
It also humanizes our clients.
It does, and it just it adds strength to our position once they have a better idea of who we are as agents, and then who the buyers are.
Yeah,
and that we want to know, is there anything that the seller's looking for that special that they want to see in the offer? Like, do they need to stay in the property longer? Do they want a short escrow or long escrow? Do they need a rent back? Are they most solely price focused, or is it price and terms? Those are all important things. But my point is, we reach out to the listing agent personally to talk to them, to get to know them, and ask all the right questions, so that we can craft an offer that's a win-win. Yes, we want to get the best price and terms for our buyer, but the deals that I've seen made in the last 5 to 10 years, it has to be a win-win for both buyer and seller. And then we're seeing a deal come together, not just one-sided.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree.
The last con I can see here is economic uncertainty with the recession topic.
And that's totally valid. It is hard to tell people, like, we don't have a crystal ball.
What's going to happen?
We have no idea what's going to happen.
Right. I like to, I like to stay on top of the statistics and all the important data weekly, so that we know which way the market is shifting, so we can, give the temperature to our clients, daily.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a potential mild recession that is maybe happening in the next 6 months. And interest rates are at 6.5% at the moment. We have very, very low inventory. We're in a seller's market. We are seeing multiple offers on many properties. I'm still shocked by how many offers we're seeing. So if you're a seller and you want to sell your house, this is the perfect time to do it, because you have so much power.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, absolutely, so much power right now in this marketplace.
Absolutely. I would get the house on the market and get a sign in the front yard and hire us right away to get you the most money, because before this, we see this market bypass us.
It will shift, like markets shift all
Yeah.
the time. And so we will be updating you with the market updates constantly, so you know exactly what's happening right now in the marketplace.
So that you can make your best decisions. Thank you for tuning in, and we hope you join us on the next one.
And make sure you like and comment and follow on wherever you're watching.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.